Met her in a diner outside Tulsa. She had motor oil on her sleeve. Said she was fixing her own transmission. I said, that's the most beautiful thing I ever seen. Married her in October, Courthouse steps. Bouquet she picked from a vacant lot. 22 years I woke up grateful. Then one morning I woke up and she was not. Lost the job 6 months after the funeral. Couldn't concentrate on anything straight. Boss was decent about it, gave me 2 weeks. I used them both sitting facing the gate. My brother called every Sunday for a year. I picked up less and less each time. Not because I didn't love him, just ran out of things to say that weren't a crime. Whiskey is my only friend. Don't judge me, don't lecture me, son. Whiskey never left 3 a.m., never told me I should move on. Never looked at me like something broken, never once asked what I'd become. Whiskey is a cold and faithless friend, but faithless beats alone when you're done. I know what it's doing to me. I got eyes, I got a mirror. Every morning it takes a little more. Every night the cost gets clearer. Found her handwriting in a coat pocket, list of groceries from 3 winters back. Stood in the kitchen holding that paper. Whiskey couldn't touch that. Nothing could touch that. Me sleeve. Met her in a diner outside Tulsa. She had motor oil on her sleeve. Met her in a diner outside Tulsa. She had motor oil on her sleeve. Said she was fixing her own transmission. I said, that's the most beautiful thing I ever seen. Married her in October, courthouse steps, bouquet she picked from a vacant lot. 22 years I woke up grateful. Then one morning I woke up and she was not. Lost the job 6 months after the funeral. Couldn't concentrate on anything straight. Boss was decent about it, gave me 2 weeks. I used them both sitting facing the gate. Married her in October, courthouse steps, bouquet she picked from the vacant lot. 22 years I woke up grateful. Then one morning I woke up and she was not. Lost a job 6 months after the funeral. Couldn't concentrate on anything straight. Boss was decent about it, gave me 2 weeks. I used them both sitting facing the gate. Married her in October. She knew what the bottle meant when he walked through the door. She'd learned to read his shoulders from across the kitchen floor. Set the table anyway, like every other night. Folded up her feelings, kept the dinner warm and right. 20 years of loving someone, burning at both ends. You learn to breathe the smoke because the smoke is what he sends. You tell yourself it's temporary, tell yourself it's fine. You pour the water past the bread and pour his glass of wine. She didn't light it, she just stood too close. Now she carries something she can't diagnose. Secondhand smoke still fills the lungs of the ones who stayed in big bare tongues. She didn't light it, but she'd breathe it in every day. Secondhand smoke doesn't wash away. Doesn't wash away. Doesn't wash away. Morning came in different shapes. She learned them all by name. The quiet kind, the loud kind, and the kind that stayed the same. She moved around his coat a full year after he was gone. Left it on the chair like he might need it further on. She stopped opening the window on that side of the house. Said the draft came in wrong, said it cold, said it quiet as a mouse. The kids believed her for a while, the way that children do, before they start to understand what they were breathing through. She didn't light it, she just stood too close. Now she carries something she can't diagnose. Secondhand smoke still fills the lungs of the ones who stayed and bit their tongues. She didn't light it, but she breathed it in every day. Secondhand smoke doesn't wash away, doesn't wash away, doesn't wash away. Years later at the doctor, they asked her to describe the tightness in her chest, the thing that lived inside. She sat there for a moment like she had to find the word. Thought of all the things she swallowed, all the things she heard. Said it's not exactly pain, it's more like something old, like something that was burning slow back when the nights were cold. The doctor nodded, wrote it down, moved right along the chart. She recognized the nod. She'd learned to do it too, by heart. She didn't leave angry. She left quiet, which was worse somehow. Packed a bag over 3 weeks, one thing at a time, so it wouldn't look like leaving. She stopped opening the window. She stopped turning on the radio on his side of the dial. She breathed a little easier, but something stayed. Something always stays. Secondhand smoke still fills the lungs of the ones who stayed and bit their tongues. She didn't light it, but she breathed it in every day. Secondhand smoke doesn't wash away, still breathing it in. Long after the fire went out, still breathing it in, still, still. Still.
Jury picked in 40 minutes. Judge had lunch plans, I could tell. My lawyer checked his watch twice during closing. Some theaters got better clientele. They called it justice, use that word, like a coat that almost fits. I sat straight like my mother taught me. Straight back don't change a verdict. Midnight courthouse, lights still on. Somebody's working late to make it clean. Midnight courthouse, scales and all. Funny how justice weighs the same things every single time. my son watched from the second row. 11 years old, learning fast. I wanted to turn and tell him something. Couldn't find the lie that lasts. The midnight courthouse, lights still on. Somebody's working late to make it clean.
The coffee's been burned here since '87. The waitress knows my name, don't ask no more. I count the westbound rays before the sun wakes up. Subtract the ones that ain't his. His boots still lean against the door. I ain't moved them. Floor looks wrong without the weight of him. I ain't ready for the floor to look right. I ain't waiting anymore. I just forgot how to quit. The highway's got no mercy in it. Takes and takes till the bone shows through. Check still in the drawer between his lighter and his last grocery list. Milk bread call mama, cash in it means something. I ain't ready to meet. Just forgot how to quit. "14 tabs open, none of them helping. 3 conversations going, nobody home. Somebody liked my photo
Used to know my neighbors by their cooking, could smell Sunday through the wall. Now I know their Wi-Fi password, never learned their names at all. Signal lost, full bars and nowhere to land. Signal lost, holding the whole world in the palm of my hand, touching nothing. Touching nothing. My phone said I'd walk 10,000 steps, never left the building once. Somewhere an algorithm knows I'm lonely, selling me a cure for what it wants. Signal lost, full bars and nowhere to land.
My grandfather walked this road before the road had a name. His hands were already old at 20 from the cotton and the chain. Nobody asked him how he felt about it. Nobody wrote it down. They gave us just enough to keep us reaching for the rest. Told us God was watching from the courthouse to the west. But the church was made of wood, and it burned in '49. And nobody asked whose match it was. Nobody crossed that line. Cotton Road, you don't go nowhere but back. Cotton Road, laid right on top of our backs. Every mile I walk it, carrying the dead. Cotton Road, they built you long so we'd forget. My son asked me why I stopped driving through that town. I said some places swallow you quiet without a sound. You don't fight a river, you just stay out of the water. Some lessons cost too much to teach your own daughter. Cotton Road, you don't go nowhere but back. Cotton Road, the dead cotton road they built you long so we'd forget.
Nobody turned it off the night she passed. The radio kept playing like the signal had to last. Some song she used to hum while doing dishes in the spring. Nobody in that house could bring themselves to do a thing. Her coffee cup sat on the counter for 3 weeks. Nobody moved it, nobody speaks. We'd walk around it in the morning like a grave, like moving it was something that we weren't yet brave. Her name kept slipping out before the brain caught up. She just stepped out, it felt like we could still fill up her cup. God left the radio on, couldn't bring himself to cut the sound. Like maybe if the music kept on playing long enough, she'd find her way back around. She'd find her way back around. She'd find her way back around. We started finding her in ordinary things, a certain angle of the light, the sound the back door brings, the way the cat still waited by the chair she used to take, the smell of something in the hall you couldn't locate or place. I called her number twice in the first month, I'm not ashamed. Listened to the voicemail just to hear her say her name. Said she wasn't available, but leave a word or two. I left the whole thing, everything I didn't get to do. Her name kept slipping out before the brain caught up. She just stepped out, it felt like we could still fill up her cup. God left the radio on, couldn't bring himself to cut the sound. Like maybe if the music kept on playing long enough, she'd find her way back around. The hardest thing about grief is the ordinary day. Not the funeral, not the flowers, not the things you have to say. It's the Tuesday in November when there's nothing on the list, and the space she used to occupy is all you can't dismiss. You make the coffee for two, catch yourself, pour one out. That moment between habit and the truth is what grief's about. And the radio keeps playing because someone has to fill the silence that she left behind, and probably always will. Static came in around 2 in the morning. The station had signed off for the night. He sat there another hour anyway, just him and the hiss of it. Didn't turn it off, didn't go to bed, sat in the chair she used to sit in and let the static fill the room. Didn't know what else to do with his hands, didn't know what else to do with the quiet. Some people pray, he just left the radio. God left the radio on, couldn't bring himself to cut the sound. Like maybe if the music kept on playing long enough, she'd find a way back around. Static after the song, just a static after the song. After the song, he's still sitting there. Static after the song, still in the chair. Still in the chair. God left the radio on. Doctor says they help with a black dog. I says, Doc, the dog just learned to sit. Still there every morning when I open, just quieter about it. I count them sometimes, not like that, just to know the number. Something about knowing what you've got keeps a man from going under. Pills in the drawer, blues in the bone. Neither one of them's taking me home. I've been functional, I've been fine, finest kind of hollow you ever seen in your life. My boy drew me smiling in a picture, stuck it to the fridge with tape. I look at it when the drawer starts calling. That drawing's doing heavy weight. Pills in the drawer, blues in the bone. Neither one of them's taking me home. The light is bright and the tile is clean and white, waiting for the word in the middle of the night. The light is bright and the tile is clean and white, checking on the pulse to see if it's still right. The paper gown is thin and the air is getting cold. A different kind of story than the one that we were told. 2 liters of oxygen inside a plastic mask, trying to find the answer to a question we didn't ask. 2 liters of oxygen inside a plastic mask, taking on a heavy and a never-ending task. The heart is on the monitor, little green line, trading in the silver for a different kind of sign. Oh, the hammer hits the iron and the iron doesn't feel. The truth is in the plastic and the truth is in the steel. From the cold room shadow to the delta's jagged edge, the hammer is descending right there at the ledge. The blues is the friction of the spirit on the glass, watching as the seconds and the centuries pass. Take the jewelry off the fingers and the watch off the wrist. Everything you owned is just a vapor and a mist. Take the jewelry off the fingers and the watch off the wrist, adding up the items on a long and heavy list. The curtains are pulled and the hallway is still. The spirit is a shadow moving over the hill. It's not a mystery, it's a procedure. The skin gets pale, the temperature drops. The machine records the moment that the movement stops. There's no light, there's just the end of the shift. Listen to the fan turning. 10,000 miles of silence in a single breath of air. The answer is a question that nobody wants to share. 10,000 miles of silence in a single breath of air, standing in the cold and the white hot glare. The dragon is a needle hidden in the dark, feeding on the ashes of a dying hollow spark. The shift is over, the room is cold. The blues was the only truth that never could be told. White tile, cold steel, the real. Grandfather signed a paper he couldn't read. The notary smiled and said, "Son, you're guaranteed." Shook his hand, took the pen, pressed it to the line. Said, "Don't worry about the numbers, everything's fine." Hinges grew quiet like something in the walls. You don't hear it eating till the ceiling falls. By the time he understood the shape of what he'd done, the house was almost gone, and so was everyone. Same pen, same line, different name, different time. The debt collector knows your face before you're born, knows your mother's name, knows the coat she wore. Every generation pays for someone else's war. The debt collector's Bible got your name on page 4. Got your name on page 4. Got your name on page 4. Father drove a truck to cover what remained. Never told us why the envelope always came. I'd see him at the table with his coffee going cold, staring at a number like a man who's getting old. He didn't talk about it, that was understood. Some things you carry quiet through the neighborhood. Retirement wasn't rest, it was a different kind of job. Same debt, different uniform, same quiet throb. Same pen, same line, different name, different time. The debt collector knows your face before you're born, knows your mother's name, knows the coat she wore. Every generation pays for someone else's war. The debt collector's Bible got your name on page 4. Got your name on page 4. Got your name on page 4. Now I'm sitting at the same table, same chair, same fluorescent light throwing yellow in my hair. Got a number in front of me I recognize by feel, like a scar you stop explaining cause it's easier to conceal. My son's in the next room doing homework on the floor. I wonder what I'm passing down, what's waiting at his door. Whether the Bible's got his name already written in, whether this is how it ends or how it starts again. Kitchen table, nothing on it but a Bible and a bill. Same amount, same ink, just a different year on the letterhead. Nobody said anything, we all understood. That's the worst kind of knowledge, the kind that skips the words and goes straight to the stomach. The debt collector knows your face before you're born, knows your mother's name, knows the coat she wore. Every generation pays for someone else's war. The debt collector's Bible got your name on page 4. Still in the drawer, the Bible and the bill.
Still in the drawer,
Still in the drawer, both of them.
still saying the same thing.
Still in the drawer. Foundation in the July heat, didn't get a hard hat till the 3rd week. Mixed the motor, laid the stone, ran the wire through the wall. 22 years in that building in the hall. Learned the pipes by feel in the dark, knew every junction point. Could tell a fault by sound before the foreman checked the joint.
He'd walk through twice a year, shake hands with the architect. Never stopped to ask me how the job was going, never checked. The foreman never learned my name. Building's got a plaque, I'm not in the frame. Cut the ribbon on the thing I built with my two hands alone. The foreman never learned my name. Never learned my name. Never learned my name. Retirement wasn't rest, it was a different kind of pain. He's been wrong by then, the cocaine with the rain. Took the buyout in October, didn't make a scene. Cleaned my locker out on a Tuesday, no one in between. Passed the building with my son the week after I was done. He looked up at the glass and asked his daddy who had won. I said, I built that son from the ground to the 6th floor. He said, they got a plaque on it, your name's not on it, pa. The foreman never learned my name. Building's got a plaque, I'm not in the frame. Cut the ribbon on the thing I built with my two hands alone. The foreman never learned my name. There's a man on the news cutting the ribbon at the new one downtown. He's wearing a hard hat for the photo op, then he puts it down. Shakes the architect's hand, shakes the developer's hand. Never looks at the man who dug the ground, never understands. I watch it on a Tuesday from the chair that hurts my back. I see the site, and I know every crack. Know which corners they cut, know which load-bearing wall. Know the name of every man who was there for all of it. There's a coffee can on the second shelf in the garage. Paycheck stubs going back to 1989. Every single one, I kept them all. Not out of bitterness, out of evidence. Somebody ought to know I was there. Somebody ought to know we were all there. The building doesn't remember, the plaque doesn't remember, but the foundation does. The foundation knows. Every hand that touched it, the foreman never learned my name. The building's got a plaque, I'm not in the frame. Cut the ribbon on the thing I built with my two hands alone. The foreman never learned my name. I was there from the ground up. I was there every floor. I was there. The foreman never learned my name, but the building knows. The building knows.
Third opinion in the same fluorescent room. Same brochure on the wall, same waiting, same perfume. They typed while I was talking, barely looked my way. Said we'll order some more tests, come back Thursday, okay. I drove home and sat in the parking lot for a while. Watched a man help an old woman walk the final mile to the automatic door that never fully opens right. I thought about just driving, thought about the light. I know what I feel in my own body. I know the difference between fear and fact. They handed me a pamphlet pamphlet about managing my stress. I folded it in half and I didn't look back. White coat blues, waiting room gray, same fluorescent light on another Monday. Nobody meets your eyes in this particular place. White coat blues and a case number face. A case number face. A case number face. The billing department called before the doctor did. Asked about my coverage like my health was just a bit. I explained the symptoms one more time to one more screen. Described the pain in terms I thought a chart might understand and mean. They said we see a lot of this is probably stress related. Said come back in 6 months and keep a journal, stay hydrated. I wrote it down obediently, the way you learn to do when you've been through enough rooms that all look like this one too. I know what I feel in my own body. I know the difference between fear and fact. They handed me a pamphlet about managing my stress. I folded it in half and I didn't look back. White coat blues, waiting room gray, same fluorescent light on another Monday. Nobody needs your eyes in this particular place. White coat blues and a case number face. My mother did this too, sat in rooms and was dismissed. Said her pain was manageable, was put upon the list. 10 years later they found what she'd been describing all along. She looked at the result like she'd known it for so long. I carry that with me into every appointment now. The knowledge that the system wasn't built to hear somehow. That asking twice makes you difficult and system makes you wrong. That the waiting room was designed to make the waiting long. She stopped going, not because she gave up, because the copay was $200, because the drive was 40 minutes, because they look at her chart and say, we already ran that. She knew her body better than the chart. The chart won. That's not a system failure. That's the system working exactly as designed. White coat blues, waiting room gray, same fluorescent light on another Monday. Nobody meets your eyes in this particular place. White coat blues and a case number face. Still on the list, appointment in November. Still on the list, same room, same light. Still on